The biggest battle we will ever have to face is the battle between you and you. It's the battle of taking your mind to that limit and then breaking through. On the Mindful Experiment podcast, we will share concepts, universal laws, and interviewing individuals who have done just that, who have gone through the dark times and through those moments allowed their light to shine bright. I'm your host, Dr. Vic Manzo, and I want to thank you for listening to the podcast and taking this journey with me as we discover different avenues to break through those limits, expand your reality, and evolve into the person you desire to be. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hey everyone, this is Dr. Vic, and you're listening to another episode here on the Mindful Experiment. Excited to be with you. I hope you had an amazing 4th here in the States, and really excited to be here and share with you as we're going through some interesting times, as we have been. I've been saying this for 3 months, and it's one of those things where I'm always trying to give content, value, but also use this as a learning tool and a piece of information to allow you to expand and evolve in the direction that you want to go in your life and so much more. In today's episode, I really want to dive into that no matter what happens in life, you have to, what's the main bottom denominator when it comes to where you have to shift your focus, how do you have to have your vision, and where do you have to stay in this centered place no matter what? I'll be honest, when the dark times come, and they do come, it's one of those things that you have to dive deep within you to find this attribute, this kind of like a belief system per se. You have to go deep into it and then really tap in. And the thing is that when shit hits the fan in life, when things aren't going your way, maybe the dark night of the soul, maybe just darkness in general, a challenging time, a discomforting time. Maybe you're trying to soar to a new level in business and you hit a wall, or you're trying to start a business and you keep procrastinating, or you keep hitting a wall, or something comes up and you feel like it's just not meant to be, right? Have you been there? Or it could be in a marriage or a relationship. You're trying to break through this dark time you had, and it just doesn't seem like it's working out. It's very easy to give up. It's very easy to just say, this isn't for me. It's very easy to do that. But even through these times, let what's going on in life teach, right? Here, I live in Chicago, in Illinois, actually. I live in a suburb outside Chicago. And we've been wearing masks for like 3 months. It's not something I enjoy. It's not something I'm being a chiropractor and a doctor. There is no protective benefits to a mask. Whether you're for them or against them, doesn't matter. 1 to 3% is the max protection you get from a cloth mask, a mask. And there's been randomized controlled studies that prove this. So it frustrates me sometimes because I have to wear one when I'm in the office. But at the same token, sometimes I look and I'm like, man, this isn't going to get better. Man, the way things are going, I don't like where the momentum's moving. But at the end of the day, I have faith. I have faith in myself. I have faith in humanity. And I have faith that things are going to turn around. People are going to wake up. People are going to understand that this virus is nothing to be worried about. Now, some of you may be sitting there listening and saying, but I had someone who died from it. I had patients, parents, and family members, some family members who have died from it. So I'm not saying the virus isn't real. It is. But like in any war, you're going to have casualties, unfortunately. The flu in 2017-18 took out 79,000 American lives, right? And so this is not, every life to me matters. But unfortunately, we're going to lose some. It's just the way life works. I didn't create that role. But in life, no matter what you face, no matter what challenges you go through, no matter how big and glorious your dream is, one of the biggest denominators is you have to have faith. And I'm not talking about religion. You have to have faith within yourself. It's a belief within yourself to know that you're going to get there no matter what. No matter what shows up in your life, no matter what shows up in the short term, no matter how big the storm comes, no matter how huge that hurricane is going to be, it doesn't matter. That's the faith you have to have. Now, you can take this and apply it in any factor of your life. I remember when I first started to play with learning stocks, and I like to invest in the crypto markets, Bitcoin and the crypto markets, a very volatile market. And I wanted to be in there because there's a lot of money that can be made. And I like the risk as long as I'm managing it. And it taught me a lot. Guess what, though? I lost my ass in the beginning of it, right? Down 60, 70%. Market took a tank. This took a tank. It was unshocked, just all these things that happen. And if you look at it, you're like, man, you're failing. You could look at it from that perspective, or you can look at it from perspective, I'm just learning because I have faith that I know I can figure this out and make this profitable to actually make it almost another stream of income for me. And through practice and through trials and errors and through all these different things, I started to figure out and I started to understand how it works. I've read books, I've studied videos, I've taken programs because I have faith no matter what was showing up. Yeah, I'm 60, 70% down. Doesn't matter. I still have funds in there and I'm still utilizing. And in this year, I've been up over 50%. Now I'm not close to where I need to be to get back to even, but I'm getting there. And it's a bear market and I'm still making money in it. So it's one of the things where I figured it out and I did it. I'm not giving in. Don't take this as financial advice to get into crypto markets or anything like that. Those are very volatile markets, extremely high risk, very, very high risk. But the point I'm trying to make though is that I have faith. And I did what I had to do to go through those struggles to get there. My business was the same thing. My coaching business, same thing. My podcast, same thing. When I first started this podcast, I didn't have, I wanted to just get material out there. And I have faith that I was going to do good. I have faith that there would be someone that will listen to this podcast and they'll get value out of this that would help transform their life. I just had faith. And all of a sudden, 6-7 months into the beginning of my podcast, I become number one in UK, Canada, and Australia for self-help. I was in the top 10 to 15 in the United States. And it was where I was there for at least 3 to 4 months. And then algorithm changed with the podcast and iTunes. And all of a sudden, I haven't been there since. But I'm going to make a comeback. And I have faith that I'm going to do it. Don't know how, but I'm going to do it. And I'll get back up there again. Because I believe the content I have is not a lot that people say. And I've interviewed a lot of people on my podcast, and a lot of them will say they appreciate the universal approach that I take when it comes to the mind experiment, and so much more. And so you have to have that faith no matter what happens in your life, no matter where it is, no matter how shitty life can be. You have to have faith that it's going to get better, because if you do, the faith isn't just in yourself. It's also the faith in the universe. It's in the faith in God, Jesus, Yahweh, Buddha, Allah, whoever you believe in, Muhammad. It doesn't matter. The label, change the label. If you don't like what I'm saying, change the label. But it's a belief in yourself first, which is also honoring the God source within you, the true source energy. When you have faith in that, anything's possible. And you just have to stick to that. And don't let these short-term fallings take you away and deter you from your goals and dreams. One of the mistakes I made in business growing early on is I made decisions and I didn't see them through. I made a decision and I didn't wait it through. I was like, oh, I do an awesome workshop, get it prepared. No one shows. Okay, I'm going to give it one more shot. Do another workshop, market it a little differently. Maybe 2 people showed. And by the third time, I only had like another 1 person that showed up. And I was like, you know what? Maybe this is not the market for that. And I would move on. Now what I do is I give it a whole year. And I make sure I am marketing through the process. And that way, if there's a signature talk that we do, I make sure I stick through it and make sure it holds value. And it's amazing how that changes when you do that. But you have to have that faith. No matter what comes up, you have to have faith, because here's the thing. If you're starting a business, I'll tell you right now, you have a lot of dark moments. You have a lot of learning moments. There's going to be a lot of challenges. If you're an entrepreneur, you already know what I'm talking about. If you're starting a new relationship or you just started a marriage, trust me, there's gonna be dark moments in that marriage. It's not all sunshines and rainbows, but at the same token, it's always knowing deep down you have the faith to know that it's going to work out. And I'm not saying a delusional faith. I'm saying pure faith, like you know for a fact, you see it in your mind's eye and you know that's going to work out. Because you got to understand, in life, storms are going to come and go. We live too much in an instant gratification world, and this is why I think we give up so easily. I always used to be fascinated because I come from most of my family's from Italy. And my dad's born in Italy. My mom was born here. So I'm like, I call myself a first generation, but I'm really one and a half. And if you really get technical, I'm one and a quarter. I mean, one and three fourths. But long story short, I've always fascinated when I would meet family members who've been in marriage for 30, 40, 50 years. And when I was younger, I would always pick their brain. I want to know what they went through. I want to understand, like, how did you still stick through it when you had this turmoil? Or let's say the other person cheated. Why, and how did you stick through that? Right? Usually they say that the relationship, or whatever the situation would be, and abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, or things like that. And it was always fascinating the message I would get back, and it would be like, because I had the faith and knew of who they really were, and it may have been a dark moment in our time together, but we become stronger through it. And I would see the relationship blossom. I got to see that in my grandparents when they got older. As they're getting older in age, my grandfather softened up. He was a very tough Italian. He was easily stressed out, but he was a very stubborn in a good and bad way. But he was an amazing man that I greatly appreciated because of his tenacity to be like, this is what I'm doing, and that's it. And he would make it happen. Came over from Italy to here with very little of anything, and he created a business, and it was extremely successful. He retired at 45. And then he had to go back to work because he didn't realize he didn't map things out as well. But the thing was, though, he was retired at 45, a guy who had nothing when he came here. And he was just determined, right? He had the faith in himself to know that he can make it happen. And he had faith in something so small, so minute, but that's what created the massive change. And I studied that. I learned that. I used to have lunch with my grandparents when I came back. When I graduated chiropractic school, I always made sure on Tuesdays, as much as I can, I'd have lunch with them, so that I'd always be with them and to connect with them. Because I'll never forget the day my dad always told me, appreciate the grandparents you have, because I grew up with none. And I'll never forget that. I valued that. And I took that to heart, and I kept my grandparents very close to me. And that's why I had such a deep relationship with them. And so the point of the matter of this is that you really have to connect with oneself and have the faith in yourself. I would say almost it's a belief within you that you can overcome anything. But you have to have that faith within. It's an inner knowing. It's a knowing that you're going to get through this and everything's going to be fine. Too many times we focus on the storm that's here and we let that distract us. And that distraction takes away your creative power. It takes away the alignment, getting your vibration to align at the frequency that you need of what you want to create for your reality. And so the more that you let these distractions get in, the more you pay attention to the short-term fallings, the more that you end up not achieving the levels you want, making it harder because you lost faith within self. There's many times, I'll never forget when this COVID all started, and all the fear tactics were going on and so much more. I remember looking at my wife and she's like, how are you not freaking out about this? How are you not bothered? And I said, everything's going to work out. This is going to be a glorious time for us. This is going to help us it's going to challenge us to be even more of a leader in our community and help to share a message for those who want to listen on how to take care of their health, how to not let fear take over them, and how to take power and control in their own way so they can have and do and survive, not only survive, thrive during this time from a health standpoint, and be able to take on more in their life. And I said, that is what is going to happen. And we're going to do that one way or another. We're going to figure that out and figure out how can we do that. And it'll all work out. It's going to work out better than ever before. And I just kept telling her it's going to. I have faith that it's going to happen that way. And things will start to come up. All of a sudden, we've seen the business take a 35% hit, different things like that. We start to be affected by COVID. And I'm like, everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to. Stick to the faith of what we do. We understand the power of what we do. Let's get down to the basic roots of what it is, what we are, who we're about. Let's look at our values. Let's look at our core values of the business as ourselves. Let's look at every single facet and let's readjust to make sure we're all in alignment. And let's help support our community through this. And then we'll start to educate them how to empower their immune system and so much more. And we did just that. And from that faith, things turned around and it became what it was because we took the time to know within ourselves. We checked ourselves. We did an inventory on ourselves. We did an inventory on the business. And we made sure that we were going to do that. I said the same thing for all my coaching clients that I work with, and about that this is going to be the time of creativity. This is a time to growth. This is a time for massive growth and expansion, creating new ideas, creating new programs, doing whatever we have to do. And all my clients have been growing in this process. And because one of the things is that we worked on this from a faith perspective, from a beliefs perspective, and keeping the mind in a centered place and keeping the energy where it needs to be so that you can continue to grow and evolve. So whatever the storm is, it doesn't matter if it's an F1 tornado or an F5. It doesn't matter if it's I don't even know I forgot the criteria for hurricanes. Category 1 and Category 5. It doesn't matter. What matters is your faith. Your faith has to overcome the short-term challenges that you're facing. Your faith has to be stronger than the storm that you face. And as long as your faith is stronger than the storm that you face, you will always find success. You will always thrive no matter what. You will always get back up and get stronger and better and learn more about yourself to do even more for the world that you really want to. And when you provide enough value to the world, it comes back to you. That's the law of money. Money is all value. And so you only get more, make more, when you create more value for others. And when you create more value for others, more money comes to you. That's how you become successful from a financial standpoint. But that's what I got for you guys today. So yes, we're facing a storm. We've been dealing with this for a few months. I think it's going to go on for a little longer to a certain degree, at least in the States. This is going to go on to election, at least. But one of the things is, though, have the faith. See your life and how you want it to be. Have the faith you know it's going to happen and put the action steps behind it to do that. Create the transformation that you want. May it be physical, mental, marriage, relationship, financial, business, whatever it is. Put that together and do the work. Have the faith within yourself. You're more powerful than you can think. And you have more support around you than you could ever imagine, both physical and non-physical. And so these are the things that you want to really focus on and do to really take it to the next level. And if you're looking for some great resources that can help you, hey, check out my book, A Walk in the Dark. It's on Audible now. It's you can get an autographed copy only in the States available for that. And you also have a Kindle and ebook versions that are out there. You can check it out. I talk about the walk in the dark. I get into this stuff and way deeper and share a lot of things about the darkness, how it empowers you, how to tap into it, how to have the faith, how to have the inner knowing, what that you can do, how can you work on the neuroscience, and so much more. Check out the book. I promise you will not regret it. It has multiple 5-star ratings. And then also, if this sounds great, and right now I have 2 spots available left for coaching. Right now, one-on-one coaching. So if you're interested and you're like, you know what, this sounds great. I need someone to help me guide me in this. I need someone to help take me to the next level. You know, I always believe, and I always heard Tony Robbins say, you always have to have a coach. I've always believed in that. I've always had a coach, always do, always had since I came out of chiropractic. I had a coach even before chiropractic school when I was done. When I was done with it. Because that's how adamant I was about growing, being more successful, learning more about myself. Because here's the thing, a coach truly is designed, in my opinion, a good coach, a solid coach, isn't just going to help you in one thing of your life. A really good coach is going to help you in every aspect of your life. Because if you go strong in one area of your life, you're going to create an imbalance in another area. And the key thing is you got to work on all of it. And if that sounds great to you, I'm your guy. So check out the link below, click on it. You can schedule a time. It's a 30-minute consult with me. I have 2 spots available, guys. These fill up pretty quick. I expect to have them filled in the next couple of weeks. But it's one of the things where we can connect, we can chat, and we can start making that transformation for you. We can talk about having the faith, learning how to develop that, and many other things as we go through aspects of life. So check those things out. As always, I appreciate you guys. Anything you may need, any topic you're interested in, shoot me an email at drvic@empoweryourreality.com. As always, I appreciate you. Subscribe to the podcast if it's your first time. Show a little rating in there for us so that it helps us get out there more. And if you've been a subscriber for quite some time, I could greatly appreciate your support through all this. And as always, until then, keep rocking and rolling. Thank you for listening to the podcast. For past shows, please visit www.empoweryourreality.com. I hope this show inspired you and added to your life to help you on the journey to rediscover who you really are. To connect with us on Facebook, please visit www.facebook.com/Dr. Vic Manzo. Check us out on Twitter. The handle is Dr. Vic21. Follow us on Instagram, www.instagram.com/Dr. Vic Manzo. If you were inspired by the podcast, pay it forward by sharing it with someone who you know can benefit from it. Thank you again for listening to the Mindful Experiment podcast, sharing paths to help you rediscover your infinite potential.